Okay guys, we will start in 2 minutes. Tapi speaker tak nak masuk lagi ya.
Welcome, Dr. Firdaus. He's here.
Welcome, Dr. Firdaus.
Okay. Tak dengar, Dok. Sekejap, kejap.
Putus-putus.
Tak dengar, Dok. Dok, dekat mana tu?
Dengar.
IIUM.
Testing dengar tak?
Okey, dengar. Hari, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We'll wait the queue from 1. Or we can, or do we need to wait for more participants? Dr. Firdaus, kat mana tu? Kat rumah ke kat kampus?
Kat rumah ni. Okey, link clear tak?
Suara dengar.
Bro, boleh dengar suara? Boleh dengar?
Dengar.
Boleh, boleh.
Boleh kan?
Hmm.
Asal guna nama Avita dah?
Sorry, this evening dia out of sudden dia keluar nama laptop ah. Nak tukar nama Sekejap
Okay, maco je nama tu.
Tak apa kan? Okay, shall we start?
We'll wait. Tak tahu. One, okay one? Ke Hari start je?
Okay, you can guys start now.
Okay, hari start ya. Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome to today's Journal Club session. My name is Harishini Rajaratinam and I'm the moderator for this session. Today we are fortunate and blessed to have a renowned speaker from the International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, with a very interesting topic. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce the speaker for today. The speaker for today is Dr. Firdaus bin Mohamad Ismail from Kulliyyah of Nursing, IIUM, all the way from Kuantan Campus. Welcome, Doctor. He is currently serving as an assistant professor. He had previously received his PhD in Biobehavioral Health Sciences from IIUM. His expertise includes emergency, theatre, and intensive care nursing practices. In December last year, Dr. Firdaus received an astounding recognition as one of the top 20 contributors to his faculty's research performance. He has also published various papers on nursing practices. Furthermore, Dr. Firdaus is an active member of various professional bodies such as Malaysian Nursing Association and Pahang's Youth Council. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Mohamad Firdaus bin Mohamad Ismail with his topic, Moral Values in Healthcare Research. Over to you, Doctor.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala washabbihi ajma'in. Okay, first of all, thank you for organizing committees because inviting me for delivering such topic today about moral values in healthcare research. Actually, I'm not the expert in talking and discussing about this topic, but inshallah, I try to share a little knowledge with you all. Okay, before I want to apologize. Maybe this evening the internet connection is not too stable, so maybe akan ada on and off lah. So ada kejap dengar, kejap tak ada dalam gua. During the evening ni dia line internet connection ni very slow. Okay, before we start, ni ada berapa orang ni? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Around 2 students PG, postgraduate students. So semua ni healthcare background ke? Semua healthcare background?
Saya more towards breast cancer research, Doctor, like more towards medicine.
Towards to medicines. So the rest? Sama ada from the nursing field.
Saya genetik doktor.
The Fakhrul Razi ni my best friend during the IUM, during degrees.
Oh, I see.
Best student in IUM, the Fakhrul Razi.
Agak.
Wow. Oops.
Sharing the moral values in research. So first of all,
Oops. Memang putus-putus kan ke my line sahaja?
Putus-putus juga korang pun.
why are you doing this? So we can communicate each other. Mira, kenapa? What is your intention doing the research? Ada
Oops. Aku boleh tak WhatsApp Dr. Firdaus?
Kita WhatsApp dengan dia. Dia nak tukar handphone.
Okay.
Nak tukar ke handphone. Doktor, tak dengar lah. Okay. Pakai phone
Okay, come lah. I and Abang Fakhrul talk first. So, korang sihat tak, audience? Macam mana COVID-COVID ni? Hari kan lepas post-vaccination, I had lymph node swelling. I cannot carry my left arm for 5 days. Lepas tu my wisdom tooth pula bengkak. I don't know if this is very unusual. Rasa macam my throat kan, dia macam semakin closing macam tu. So like few days back tak boleh nak telan rice. I can't eat like solid food. I don't know lah second dose nanti macam mana.
Hari first dose Pfizer.
Baru first dose Pfizer. Macam mana experience vaccination korang?
Mine was quite okay. I got my first Pfizer not from USM. I purely from My Sejahtera.
Oh, okay.
Got my vaccination from Pasir Mas. Had a mild fever on the first day. The next day, post vaccination.
Oh, okay.
But not really bad. I just took PCM, then that's it. Where
Aina
are
pun
you?
dah dapat kan vaksin? Aina dah dapat. Aina dah dapat vaksin.
The question is, ada lagi tak yang tak dapat?
Dapat dah. Ada je yang tak dapat lagi, tapi the postgrad committee is working on it. Just tunggu-tunggu je. Rasa this week ramai juga yang dah dapat their dose and okay, doctor's back.
Doctor.
Sorry. Okay, line okay tak?
Okay, better.
Okay, better
Better.
kan? Kena pakai mobile data juga, sorry lah. Duduk dekat dalam hutan ni jadi macam ni lah. Okay, let's start. Let's begin. So before we discuss about the moral values, inculcate moral value in healthcare research, we should asking ourselves, what is the real intention we are doing research? Why we doing research? Why we conducting a research? Why we embark in research activities? Try to ask ourselves why. Maybe Mrs. Chairman can share your experience why.
Yes, sure, doctor. So
Yeah, why?
basically, initially, I did this breast cancer study because I think my intention was very wrong in the beginning. My intention was just to, okay, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to become a doctor, I'm going to make a very good living using my title. So it was very, it was a very wrong intention. But then when I started my clinical days, I actually met several makcik-makcik, like very elderly makcik, who used to be breast cancer patients. Lepas kan doktor, bila dia orang dah buat chemotherapy, their veins started to, shrink. So even though we wanted to take blood samples for them, it was so painful for them. And kadang-kadang bila we pin in pun, we might not get the blood. So then this particular makcik, she had tears in her eyes and she told me, nanti adik belajar tinggi-tinggi, adik tolong ya orang macam makcik. So from there, my intention changed. Okay, what can my study contribute to? Kalau tak dapat contribute, okay, maybe not to say create like a medicine, immediately eliminate breast cancer from the world. Even though my contribution is like very small, but at least I can do something to help this kind of people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks to Sister Harishini. Yes, same goes to me. When I'm doing a research in a postgraduate studies. Yes, my first intention is to graduate, to get a piece of certificate, to become a PhD holder. Same goes to you all. I'm sure every one of here, we have the same intention to get the license, to get a certificate as a PhD holder. Yes, it's true. Doing a research in postgraduate studies, we want to get a license to embark in a real research setting in the future. Become a lecturer in the future. For example, you can't put your place in the lecturer's position if you don't have any PhD certificate, for examples. That's why nak tak nak kita terpaksa buat research, kena habiskan research. Tapi pernah tak kita terfikir, sometimes bila we put the first intention at the first place to finish the research, whatever happens, whatever things happens come to us, kita akan cross the border. Sometimes kita akan violate the principle. Semata-mata kita nak finish our studies. That's why lah dia akan datang immoral activities, immoral act and activities that violates the principle itself, the moral ethics. Itu yang berlaku, plagiarism, falsification of data, you fabricate the data. Because why? We want to finish your studies. Nak habiskan juga to get the license to get your master, to get your PhD. That's why the first intention kita kena betul-betul. That's why in Islamic perspective, the intention is very important. Because in Islam, when the intention is right, so Allah will give you a reward. Bless you in the journey, in your PhD or master journeys. You get the blessing from the God. So let's I share the PowerPoint. Not too much the PowerPoints today, only a few slides. Mana? Line clear ke?
Yeah, your line here, Doctor.
Clear. So dia ada bunyi because ni my first time using the Webex.
I see.
Tak familiar sangat, sorry ya dengan Webex ni.
Perfect, tak ada interruption langsung.
Tak ada kan? Okay. Selalu Webex ni golongan kayangan je guna. I always use the Google Meet and Zoom. Mana kena share ni? Okay, now I'm sharing my PowerPoint slide. Anyone can see my slide?
Yes, Doctor, I can see
Boleh
your slide.
kan? Okay, good. Okay, this topic are moral values in healthcare research. Basically, I'm in Kulliyyah of Nursing, so now I'm holding a post as a head of research and innovations, Kulliyyah of Nursing. So, so no need to introduce myself. Mrs. Jamal already told my background, insyaAllah. So, mana tak boleh gerak ni? Okay. Good, let's go to the past, to the history. When the research become the phenomenons, the main activities in the past, we see in the Western countries. Ada one hospital in Brooklyn. The hospital called is named as Jewish Chronic Disease Hospital. And during that time, in 1963, Dr. Chester Southam and Dr. Emmanuel, they conducting a research. They conducting a research about the cancer. Anyone doing a cancer study here? So this both of this researcher, they're doing a research related to what? Related to cancer. What happened is they call about 19 volunteer participants who had a chronic disease, advanced chronic disease. 19 volunteer ni don't have any cancer, but they have chronic diseases. What happened is they call this 19 volunteer. They told them, you are recruited as a participant in my study to doing a skin test. Dia bagi tahu ini skin test. Skin test to the participant. But actually, the study is not about skin test. Both of these researchers, they are doing a research related to the cancer. They put a human cancer. The cultured human cancer cell, they put under the skin of thigh of this participant. They want to see if all these cancer cell or the human body will reject the transplant because due to the chronic debilitation or due to the cancer itself. So dia tak berterus terang lah dengan participant ni. They told the participant they undergo the study about the skin test. But actually the researcher dia nak tengok sama ada the body tu would reject the cancer cell tu disebabkan oleh chronic disease yang mereka memang dah ada ataupun disebabkan cancer cell tu sendiri. Maksudnya dia tak berterus terang kat situ. It become the issue. At the past, this study become a very big issue, hard issues. Because the researcher did not get consent from the participant about the real study. So jadi isu lah. Kalau
Doktor,
let's
maaf
say-
ganggu. Doktor
Yep.
boleh tak jadikan full screen sebab slide macam ke tepi.
Set macam ke tepi.
Ah.
Macam ni okey tak?
Okay.
Dia full screen ke? Nampak full screen?
Okay, nampak full screen, Doktor.
Nampak full screen Okay. So tadi, both of the researcher ni, actually they just want to know, to assess either the body ni reject the cancer cell due to the chronic debilitation or ataupun disebabkan cancer itself. Dia jadi problem lah sebabnya there has no integrity, not telling the truth to the participants of the study. So become jadi hot issues. Same goes to the next study. This is about the Tuskegee study. The study pula is about related to syphilis. Tahu kan syphilis kan? About the STI, sexual transmitted disease, STD. The Tuskegee study ni, they happen in Alabama. So what happened is, ini pun there has no integrity and not telling the truth to the participant. They recruit around 600 African American at Alabama. They call out 6 people here. They recruit 600 people there. What this researcher told them? They said, jom datang join study ni. Disebabkan kita nak treat, disebutkan sebagai bad blood. Treatment for bad blood. Kononnya ada macam kuman dalam darah. So siapa yang join our research ni, kita akan treat the bad blood. Actually itu bukan the real intention of this researcher. They call 600 African American during that time. Basically ada around 400 people got syphilis. And the rest were not infected. Apa yang mereka nak buat? Dia nak tengok the progression of the syphilis. Dia nak tengok itu je sebenarnya. Macam kalau kita tengok dalam kuasai experimental ataupun RCT, random clinical trial, kan we put the participant in 2 groups. So maybe one kita give a proper treatment, proper plan, so we can see the effectiveness, the efficiency of the drugs for this particular disease. Another group is we just give the placebo. So nothing happens lah to this group. But what happened to this study? They call upon the 600 people, that 400 who got syphilis, they don't give any treatment. Sedangkan pada time tu kita tahu, nanti during this time pun, antara the best medicine to cure the syphilis is using the penicillins. But during that time, this researcher do not give the penicillin to this group of people. They still give the placebo like another group. They only give the aspirin, mineral supplements. So at the end tak ada lah apa-apa changes and nothing happens to both of this group. Dia orang ni keep coming to the clinics, hospital to update their status, to tengoklah, the researcher tengoklah dia punya darah semua tu, buat clinical investigation. Sebab mereka nak tengok the progression of the syphilis itself. Memang data tu makin lama makin teruk lah. So the researcher ni tengok, okay, this one thing happen. Sampai lah at the end, sepatutnya study tu habis in few years. But dia jadi prolong sampai 20 years, 30 years. That's why in Tuskegee study, they said non-therapeutic experiment, the longest non-therapeutic experiments. Dia jadi macam tikus makmal lah. Jadi tikus makmal. Datang, the researcher told them they want to treat, sepatutnya to treat bad blood. Dia sebut bad blood. Tapi in the reality, nothing happened. Nothing treatment given to this kind of people. So teruk lah. There's no integrity, not telling the truth to the participants. Ini semua violates the principle of the researcher. Sebab intention mula-mula dah salah lah, dia nak tipu orang. Apa intention dia? At last dia dapat fulfill the study, dia finish the study. That's why kita kena betul. Even though we want to finish our study, we want to finish our research, but bear in mind, don't violate the principle. After this both controversial issues, controversial study, so banyak dah the Western countries develops and make a guideline or principle that they know before this. Some of them, we call it a Nuremberg Code, Declaration of Helsinki, EU Convention on Human Rights and Biomedicines, Convention on Human Rights and Biomedicine.
Oh no. Memang stuck kan?
Sambung cerita vaksin.
Oh my god. I feel so bad for the syphilis case kan? I feel really, really bad for the syphilis case. Just imagine kalau orang pergi ke hospital dengan niat yang dia nak dapat treatment, tapi just imagine they did not give any particular treatment. So that's very sad.
Sorry, boleh dengar suara saya tak?
Ya, doktor, teruskan.
Boleh
Boleh,
kan?
boleh, clear. Ya.
Oh, sorry, dia terputus ke apa tadi saya?
Dia terputus sekejap.
Oh, sorry, alamak.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay kan, sorry, line alamak, teruk sangat lah. So the Nuremberg Code tadi Nushini, you asking the question or what tadi?
Tadi kan doktor, so since doktor lag, so just tengah komen pasal kes syphilis tu, rasa very bad lah for them kan doktor?
Oh, yeah. That's why doing a research, kita kena telling the truth to the participant, because sometimes the participant when we recruit into our study, they already have the macam harapan lah, we give them hope, but all of a sudden at the end nothing happens, kecewa lah. Kalau macam kita bagi harapan kat seorang kan, macam contoh Fakrozi want to tackle someone kan, bagi harapan ni at the end dia kahwin dengan orang lain, for example, kecewa. That's why in research pun we give hopes to the participant. We want to treat their disease, their ailment, their illness, but at the end nothing happen. The illness becomes severe, at the end they die. So problem lah. Sebab in the research we want to give the what benefits to the people. So too many societies and organizations developed a declaration to ensure the researcher abide by to the rules and guideline. For example, the Nuremberg Code, at least ada 9 to 10 principles that the researcher have to abide by. For example, the first one, whatever research you did, you should have the consent from the participant, which is voluntary consent. Kena ada voluntary consent. Bila sebut voluntary consent ni, either give her verbally, and in the research we have documented it. Using the, maksudnya participant tu kena sign lah. Even though already give the verbal consent, but the participant should sign the consent. So we should have the both verbal and written consent form. The second is the experiment, the study should yield fruitful result, give a benefit to the people, give a benefit to the community. Ini antara principle yang guideline Nuremberg Code stated in the declarations. Study should have and give benefit to the people and community. Kalau not yield any benefit, useless lah.
No.
Terhilang pula ke?
Tak apalah, kita sembang. Okay, so I think semua orang dah pernah belajar rasanya Declaration of Helsinki during our undergraduate time. And then so we have to abide to the rules. Must dapatkan informed consent, betul tak? Kadang-kadang orang bila dia dah ambil informed consent tu, dia akan forge the signature. I've seen some researcher did this because they don't take it so seriously. Usually we have to lepas dah sign tu, we must pastikan we give
that-
a copy. Yes, okay.
Betul lagi ke?
Betul lagi.
Tu lagi, sorry dia memang tiba-tiba macam ni. Tapi
Apa?
boleh get my point kan?
Yes, Doctor. We can follow.
Okay. Tak apa, kalau terputus hari sini boleh sambung ke? Okay, same goes to another principle in Nuremberg Code. They stated is, if your study, you believe that maybe death or disability will occur or will expose the participants to any injuries. So tak boleh lah buat study macam tu. Tak boleh introducing any harm, injuries will cause the participant die, get the injury, disability. Ini semua yang immoral study. Another principle that stated in Nuremberg Code, they said that kalau contohlah terpaksa kita buat study tu juga, tapi terpaksa expose harm to the participant. Di sini dia gunakan, kalau in Islamic principle, they call it fiqh muwazanat. Fiqh muwazanat. Maksudnya pertimbangan. Nak tak nak kita terpaksa buat study ni sebab they yield a benefit to the community. Terpaksa buat study ni tapi terpaksa expose a little harm to the people and community. For example, contoh apa Okay, contoh sekarang tengah hot issue tentang ivermectin. Tahu ke ivermectin ni apa? Ramai orang nak pakai ivermectin ni kan, semua nak jadi tikus, kucing nak pakai ivermectin. So let's say bila kita nak pakai ivermectin ni, we can't simply use the ivermectin drugs to treat the COVID. We have to go through the process. The first initial phase, maybe we go to the in vitro dan petri dish. We go to animal study, clinical studies. Baru kita embark dalam human studies. Mungkinlah ivermectin ni kita bagi to animal, you doing the animal studies, still we introducing harm to the animals. When we spoken and discuss about the harm exposing to the injury, not to the people only, we are related to the animal. We give harm, we introducing harm and injury to the animal, to the rats. Kita buat animal study, confirm ada animal yang mati. Kalau kita tengok dalam statistik, berapa ribu ikan mati, burung mati, tikus mati, semua mati. Then at the end, we introducing harm. But according to the fiqh muwazanat lah, in Islam we call it fiqh muwazanat, fiqh pertimbangan. Kalau ada berlaku antara mudarat besar, mudarat ni dalam ham. Kalau adanya harm kecil dan harm besar, bigger harm and lesser harm. Nak tak nak kita terpaksa buat study ivermectin ni. Terpaksa memudaratkan, membahayakan nyawa tikus. Terpaksalah mati. Walaupun 1000 ekor mati, tapi disebabkan ivermectin ni boleh menyelamatkan ribuan manusia. Dua pertimbangan, lesser harm and the greater harm. So we can introduce the lesser harm to secure the majority of population. Itu kaedah dia. They applies in Islamic principle and also applies in Nuremberg Code. Kalau berlakulah pertimbangan dua perkara ni, antara mudarat kecil, mudarat besar, bahaya kecil, bahaya besar, yes, it's immoral, permissible to introducing a lesser harm to secure the benefits of the people. Di kaedah dia begitu. So banyaklah lagi sebenarnya prinsipal-prinsipal dalam Nuremberg Code ni. At the end, disebut juga, the experiment, the study should be conducted only the qualified person. Kalau simply nak buat, dia tak ada license, tak ada kata qualified, don't have any relevant academic background, but you doing the research, you already violate the principle and the declarations. Tapi on postgraduate study ni okey lah, sebab we are still learning kan. For example, macam contoh, you are background in healthcare. Macam contoh, Fakur Razi, dia background dia genetik. Genetik mungkin dibuat pasal genetik manusia. Tiba-tiba, after get a license of PhD, tiba-tiba dia buat tentang yang tak ada kaitan dengan dia pun. Dia buat pasal engineering. Tak ada kaitan langsung dengan genetik. Lepas tu dia declare dia expert in engineering dan bla 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 bla. Dia tak kena lah, dia not in line with we call it as a qualified person doing a research. That's why bila kita embark in research, we are really expert, become a content expert in your research. Maybe you join in genetics, you become expert in genetics. Whatever question comes to you, you can answer that particular questions. Maybe you expert in disease, in cancer. Someone asks you about the cancer, you can ask. That's why you can call it a content expert. Sebab dalam master, dalam PhD ni kita buat dalam specific field. Kita tak buat as general. Sebab topik dalam PhD, dalam master ni very specific. Because kita nak ensure you graduated as a content expert. Okay, next. Okay, tentang research misconduct. Tadi pun at the beginning we already discuss about the research misconduct. Nak tak nak kita nak habiskan research tu. Entahlah kita nak plagiate, fabricate, nak falsify the data. Asalkan kita pass master, pass PhD. Ini pun problem juga. So dalam research misconduct ni, dia banyak research misconduct yang kita buat ni. That's why kita nak tengok sikit-sikit apa yang boleh kita perbetulkan, nak inculcate the moral values in research misconduct ni. Kadang-kadang ada technical fault in research design. Technical fault ni sepatutnya at the beginning tu kita dah pastikan, ensure the research design that we want to achieve the objective, dia inline betul. Kalau research design at the beginning pun dah salah, macam mana you nak ensure you fulfill all the objective? You won't give any benefit at the end. So jadi problem lah. So at the beginning tu kena betul-betul research design. That's why sometimes we doing a proposal tu kadang-kadang sampai 1 tahun. Kadang-kadang orang makan sampai 2 tahun buat proposal. Sebab apa? We want to ensure the research design is completely well, perfect. Kalau at the beginning pun research design dah tunggang terbalik, upside down, so at the end we can ensure your results akan jadi yang terbaik. That's why kadang-kadang kita buat proposal ni lama sangat. Tapi tak apalah lama. At the end, your punya research design tu cantik. Sebab bila research design salah, dia akan lead to the wrong recruitment. Participant salah you ambil. Sepatutnya di study you embark in kualitatif, tapi you buat kuantitatif. Very simple design. But at the end, dia akan jadi salah. Wrong recruitment process. Insufficient sample size pun problem juga. Bila tak cukup sample size pun, you punya result tak akan jadi tepat lah kiranya. Dia samalah dalam isu ivermectin ni kalau kita sebut kan. Dia sebab jadi hot issue ni, we can discuss today. Because ivermectin ni, most people, terutamanya anti-vax people, they keep asking untuk gunakan ivermectin ni. Yesterday pun kalau tengok dalam dewan sidang rakyat kan, ada opposition parties pun still nak minta MKN luluskan penggunaan ivermectin ni. Even though KKM tak bagi lagi kelulusan ni, tak bagi WHO, tak bagi kelulusan, tapi paksa juga untuk MKN luluskan ivermectin ni. So dia jadi problem lah. Kalau kita tengok sebenarnya dah ada dah. Some studies have been conducted to see the effectiveness of ivermectin.
Lag ke? My internet connection. Okay. Hari ada terbaca tau yang ivermectin ni, they have to give the very very high dose, like berapa mg, only then it can cure COVID-19. But what they don't understand is, bila kita bagi high dose ni, dia boleh memudaratkan other good cells in your body. So it can actually damage your visual organs. So entahlah macam mana kita nak bagi orang faham Like people give already, like the other day I saw on Instagram like a very nice post. They explain all those pros and cons of ivermectin. Okay, dah sampai.
Hilang lagi
dah?
sorry.
Tak apa.
Dia tiba-tiba hilang gambar you tu. Okay, macam ivermectin tadi. Yes, even though our KKM they said we can use the ivermectin but off label. Off label ni bukannya maksud we can simply use ivermectin for you on self. Off label ni maksud we can use in the clinical setting, maksudnya clinical trial. Kalau tengok most of the study conducted in Western in overseas, they already conduct a research ivermectin in COVID-19. But the problem is the studies yang related dengan ivermectin ni, the study tu have low number of participant, insufficient sample size. Kalau contoh sepatutnya we conduct the human trial or animal studies, you kena ambil dalam 1000 tikus. Tapi you ambil 500 tikus. Kalau you buat human studies, sepatutnya kena recruit maybe 100 participant, tapi you ambil 4-5 orang. But insufficient sample size. That's why we can't use that result to prove that ivermectin is the best drug to treat the COVID-19. The problem lagi, the weak study design. Study yang buat tentang ivermectin ni very weak study design. Lepas tu inconsistent using the dosing regime. Di study using regime ini, dosing ini. Another study using this regime. Dia tak consistent. There's no consistency doing buat the regimes using to that particular studies. Dia jadi problem lah. Bila tak ada inconsistency in doing a research, so the result tu we can't use. Dia tak boleh generalization to the entire world. Tak boleh lah. So kita tunggulah. Kita tunggu sampai betul-betul research design dah cantik, recruitment process tu dah cantik, sample size pun dah cantik. So, kita tengok benefit, result for ivermectin ni macam mana. Kalau okey baru kita akan gunakan. Saya pun akan jadi orang pertama guna ivermectin ni. Kalau lah betul-betul give a benefit. So up to now kita kena sabar guna je lah apa yang dah ada ni. BioNTech ke, Pfizer ke, AstraZeneca ke, gunalah apa saja yang dah ada. Misinterpret the trial data. Kita misinterpret to draw favorable conclusion. Result yang tak sedap dengan kita, kita tak highlight. Result yang nampak macam cantik, sedap dengan kita, kita highlight besar-besar. Itu memang fitrah manusia lah kan. Kita nak tunjuk yang buruk-buruk kan. Tapi itu research misconduct. Kita kena kata in the integrity, telling the truth. That's why ini pun one of the things that kita kena tengok. Kalau kita tengok dalam the reality, siapa yang selalu belakang the draw favorable conclusion ni? Contoh dalam pharmaceutical research, orang yang terlibat dalam farmasi, in the area of pharmaceutical studies, setting, research. Apa yang berlaku? Selalunya developing a drug ni, dia consuming and they have to invest a lot of money. Sebab dia nak produce drug and they want to selling and give to the people. Makin banyak orang guna, makin kaya lah dia. Selalu macam mana dia nak buat? Kadang-kadang dia akan hire one company, one academicians to doing a study. Orang tu dah dapat grant daripada satu one pharmaceutical company. Tiba-tiba contohlah, one pharmaceutical company ni, company A. Dia hire Harishini untuk tengok the effectiveness of this drug. So Harishini pun buatlah RCT, random clinical trial on this drug. Satu grup ni. Treatment group ni dia bagi drug A. To at the end, maybe some participant in the treatment group tu maybe developing a maybe minor illness. Ataupun matilah, 5 orang mati dalam participant group tu. Adakah mereka nak expose the result macam itu? For example kan. Takat ni tak adalah sampai mati kalau buat pharmaceutical research ni. Tapi dia sampai mati, orang tu dapat cacat, developing another disease. Tapi disebabkan kita dah dapat grant daripada one pharmaceutical company ni, at the end, kita kita falsification the data. Result tu kita manipulate. Sebenarnya semua treatment group improve dia punya disease. Makin elok dia jadi sihat. Result tu ialah kita present to our pharmaceutical company. So dia pun jual, selling the drugs. Kita pun dapat benefit grant, KPI naik, macam-macam lah. Ini antara ethical issue in pharmaceutical company and academicians. Jadi problem. There's no integrity and not telling the truth. Dia tak boleh lah, dia immoral. Itu apa benda tu? Reporting fabricated. Sama lah tu. So ini kita cepat sikit lah key issue ni. Key issue ni inform consent. Benda-benda yang ada kena ada dalam research ni, kena ada inform consent. Patient information sheet. Kena ada. Kita nak buat study ni kena ada patient information sheet. Tak boleh verbal macam saya sebut tadi. We can't just give getting a verbal consent from the participant. We should provide them with the patient information sheet. The detail. Apa yang kita nak buat dekat dia, what is the complication, the study period, how long, what the data that we want to get from the participant, what the data we can expose to the third parties, for example. So all these elements we have to include in the patient information sheet. So at least the participant know what happens to them, what happened during the study. Patient information sheet ni wajib, dia bukan harus. Wajib kena ada. Confidentiality, kena secure the information yang kita dapat ni. Sometimes bila kita dapat, ini pun jadi ethical issue juga. For example, we collect 100 participant. We already give the patient information sheet to the participant and the participant return the information to us. Kita pun dapatlah banyak contact number, IC semua. Sometimes kita tak jaga confidentiality ni. Kita ambil semua maklumat ni, kita jual dekat maybe company yang, maybe insurance agent. Dia mulalah call. Yang mana dapat nombor ni? Adalah dia kata. Kadang-kadang berlaku benda-benda macam ni. Kita bagi all this information to third parties. Sedangkan dalam patient information itu already stated, we can't give any informations to the third parties without their consent. Kadang benda-benda ni berlaku kerana kita tak sedar pun. Privacy, privilege communication, respect, responsibility. Antara responsibility kita dalam research ni, kita kena respect people and respect for truth. Right to dignity, privacy, semua benda tu lah. Okay, ni last. So apa benda core moral values bila kita nak conducting healthcare research ni? Tadi at the beginning pun kita dah start. Apa yang lack, loophole dalam research ni. Dan kita boleh inculcate some moral values to prevent immoral things happens in our studies. The first one, benda yang kita boleh inculcate, the moral values. First, kita kena ada integrity. Integrity ni including conducting research in which allow others to have trust and confidence. Finding yang dah ada, result yang dah ada tu kena bagi tahu secara jujur lah, jangan simpan-simpan. For example macam itu. Itu integrity. Kena ikut standard guideline. Dalam research ni, when we talk about the integrity, in Islamic perspective, we call it as al-ihsan. Dia ada term al-ihsan, pernah dengar? Harishini pernah dengar al-ihsan?
Pernah dengar doktor tapi tak faham maksud je.
Al-ihsan ni, if we translate to English, they say good excellence, goodness. Or in one prophetic tradition state, anta'budallaha ka'annaka tara fa illam takun tara fa innahu yarak. It means to worship Allah or to worship God as if you see him. We doing something seolah-olah macam the God seeing us. For example, macam contoh you tengah kerja, ataupun you tengah buat research lah, you tengah interview participant buat qualitative study. You one to one dengan participant. You nak kelentong apa dengan participant, you tak ikut structured interview guideline pun, tak ada siapa kisah pun sebab you one to one dengan participant. Another scenario is tiba-tiba supervisor sebelah you. Supervisor you tengok je you tengah interview participant. Adakah you akan cincai je interview participant? No, of course not. You akan jadi skema time tu. you akan conducting an interview very well. Oh, macam pembaca berita lah yang tu. Memang ikut skrip lah.
Sampai dah hafal, doktor?
Sampai hafal. There was someone is watching you. That's why in Islamic perspective, we want to inculcate in a researcher. Doing a research, we believe Allah is watching you. Jangan buat cincai. Setiap tindakan yang kita buat dalam research ni, Allah sedang melihat kita. Akan ada dosa pahala di situ. Kalau kita tipu, dapat dosa. Kalau kita niat baik, buat secara yang baik, dia akan dapat pahala. That's why al-ihsan in the integrity in conducting healthcare research, we believe that Allah is always watching us. Akan ada lah integrity tu. High value trait. So honesty, macam kita sebut tadi, kena telling the truth, and macam kita sebut tadi, dalam integrity, honesty ni samalah semua. Fidelity. About the plagiarism. Kalau ada dia sebenarnya lack of study in Malaysia. Misconduct research, apa yang berlaku dekat Malaysia, misconduct research, a lack of study. But one research I read before this, one studies, they try to find out what is the common misconduct in doing a research. In Malaysia, they sebut the first one is plagiarism. The second one is authorship dispute. The plagiarism ni memang common lah. Not only in students but in academician pun very common plagiarism. Sometimes kita tengok lah simple je benda ni. Tak simple. Sometimes kita ambil curi idea orang tapi kita nak kita tentang COVID. Dia copy paste kita punya, kita letak dalam Facebook. Tiba-tiba kita baca. Macam ayat aku ni. Kan kita sakit hati kan. Kita sakit hati. Ni ayat aku kenapa dia at least tulis lah nama kan. Kita nak kredit. Kredit tu ada sangat lah. Tapi itu dalam akademik. We want the credit. Sebab kita yang develop the idea. We develop the sentence. We create the scenario. We create the discussions. So we want the credit. Dalam academics, the credit very important. Apa yang berlaku among the students, the postgraduate lah, sometimes kita nak tengok kita ni banyak idea, kita banyak knowledge. Sometimes kita ambil pick sana, pick sini from the literature review. Memanglah dalam kita buat master PhD memang kita akan ambil banyak lit review. Tapi we have to citing their works. Kita kena credit the author, the original author. Itu memang prinsipal dia. Jangan simply kita ambil cedok idea sini tapi kita tak credit them. Ni memang very wrong lah in academic perspective. Kita kena credit
Hari
them.
nak share my experience kan, doktor.
Yeah.
So before this, terjumpa satu paper. So this paper ni dia dah publish. So dalam bidang yang Hari tengah study ni, there's a very small circle of researchers. So bila dah ada small circle, so paper pun sangat-sangat limited. So balik-balik kita cite orang yang sama, sebab dia orang macam pioneer that particular field.
Yep.
So this particular Brazilian paper ni kan, doktor, dia habis copy the whole thing. Like you can check word by word. Tapi this Brazilian paper managed to publish their paper and dia bukan predatory journal. Dia cuma tambah gambar je, dia buat review paper. So I feel like that's really like very wrong sebab hasil kerja orang lain just copy paste and then you put some photo and then you publish. Word
That's
by
right.
word itu sama je.
Yeah. That's why this thing happens actually not only in Malaysia but all over the world. These things happen and has been discussed in academic platform. That's why bila kita encounter when we encounter and we read the same article published in another journal, actually one of the responsibility apa yang kita boleh buat, sepatutnya we have to report to that particular journal. Kita kena report, jangan kita diam. Kalau kita diam, lama-lama dia akan jadi orang kata barah dekat dalam academician ni. Masing-masing akan buat artikel yang sama. Dia dah publish kat sini. Tapi dia publish tempat lain lagi. Dia naik KPI dia makin naik. Sedangkan dia buat falsify, dia fabricate, dia datang. Benda ni tak boleh. Sebab tu bila berlaku research misconduct, ini pun one of the research misconduct. we have to report to the particular journal. Tapi what the thing happens, the reality, the researcher ni seldom report incident of research misconduct. Because why? Because it takes too much time. Sometimes,
Formalities.
yeah, maybe we have to spend some effort to report. Kena doing some work to report them. And some of them, they just afraid of repercussion or maybe the side effect when reporting to the journal. Kita dah lah nak ambilkan master, nak ambil PhD. Nak ambil masa pula nak report kat jurnal ke satu cerita yang bukan problem aku ni. Kita buat tak kisah kan. Tapi itulah yang berlaku. Sometimes researcher ni nak avoid. Taklah itu kubur yang lain orang kata. Kubur yang lain. Nak tak engkau lah. Dia tak boleh lah. Sepatutnya dalam academic perspective, we have to report to the particular journal. Sepatutnya tak untuk mengelakkan barah ni daripada membiak. Ni problem dia. Another thing is, tadi plagiarism. Another thing is about the authorship dispute. Ini pun common research misconduct in our countries. Authorship dispute ni apa benda? Contohlah US master and PhD students doing writing article and publish in journal. Sepatutnya dalam first principle ya, siapa yang menulis tu dialah first author.
Ya, betul.
First author. But sometimes the supervisor ni yalah as academician become a first author to one of the KPI as academicians. Memang kena nak ada first author. Sometimes ada supervisor ni dia sahaja simply put him as a first author. Sepatutnya dari segi moral tak kena lah. Walaupun ada dispute, ada discussion dekat situ. To me, student have the right to become a first author because they write their own, their idea, their effort, their works, writing article. Maybe boleh lah letak supervisor tu as a corresponding author ataupun become a second author. Tapi ada juga apa yang berlaku bila first author, maybe student buat study dah banyak, artikel dah panjang, tapi majority or most of the written discussion tu supervisor dah buat semua, tukar. Sebab banyaklah spelling error, discussion tak kena. So supervisor tukar semua. So bila dah berlaku macam itu, so supervisor have the right to become a first author. Itu kaedah dia lah. Tapi apa yang berlaku kadang-kadang supervisor dia letak tu first author dia. Itu apa yang berlaku lah. Tak kena lah. Dia segi moral ethics tu macam tak cantik.
Doktor. Okey. Okay, tak apalah. Kita berborak. Memang lag kan Kak Wan?
Ya, lag. Sebab ada
Okay.
tanda kuning tu, maksud dia lag.
Okay.
So,
Ingatkan
in
wifi USM.
No. In between tu, you mungkin boleh elaborate you punya research code, apa yang ada hadapi sekarang tu apa tu related. Mungkin Murabi boleh share juga.
Siapa?
Kak Wan tak jelas tadi putus-putus. Share apa Kak Wan? Habis dengar sampai share. But share what I cannot hear.
Mungkin
Same
you
here.
boleh, you guys boleh share you punya research regarding kita punya topik hari ni about the moral value.
Okay.
Why
So
you
hari ada
conducting
one
research.
interesting story. So basically in my study, Doctor's back. Tak sempat nak cakap interesting
It's okay,
story
you
ke.
continue je.
Apa interesting story tu hari sini ya? Share. I
Macam
boleh
ni
dengar.
Doktor. So my study ni hari ada clinical and pre-clinical. So maksudnya ada animal study and also human based study. So
Great.
human based ni memang I will just go and approach breast cancer patients, ambil sampel. Tapi bila dah sampai part animal ni kan Doktor, so sedih gila sebab hari kena how to say grow the breast cancer cells. Lepas tu I have to introduce it at the tikus. So basically dia kena bear the breast cancer for about 42 days. So I try to do my level best, make sure dia comfortable. Sampai siapkan kita macam namakan tikus-tikus tu. Okay Jerry, don't be sad Jerry, things will be fine. Okay. So letak bedding, nice bedding for him. Letak all those toys and everything. And kita akan selalu contact veterinarian. kat sini ada one particular veterinarian. Her name is Dr. Ismail. So she will come usually and then she will check on the tikus every morning. So like towards the end kan doktor yang bila cancer diorang dah semakin parah, oh it was very sad.
Yeah.
So but we had to do in order to support the clinical study. So preclinical have to support the clinical, yeah.
Yeah. A very good sharing, Hari. Because that's why I kata sometimes we have to embark in clinical study or animal studies. We have to sacrifice maybe some animals to provide a benefit to the people. Tu dikatakan fit muazanat tu. We we take the lesser harm to avoid the greater harm in the future. So dalam animal studies ni sometimes memang sedih lah kan. Kalau tikus yang comel tu, sebab I pun dulu bela tikus. Macam tikus I bela. Guinea pig. Tapi semua mati lah. Bukan animal study lah. I saja bela tapi mati juga. Tapi nak ceritanya bila we doing conducting an animal studies, we kena abide to the people. Maksudnya kita kena treat them as human as well. Walaupun mereka tu tak ada akal, mereka ni haiwan je, binatang tak boleh. We kena treat them as a human. Kena faham perasaan dia orang kena cancer cell punya sakit, the progression of the disease tu very teruk. Tak boleh berjalan, sakit semua. Apa yang boleh, that's why dalam animal studies ni, there are discussion. Macam contohlah, I always integrate the Islamic values in the research. There ada Islamic guideline when we to conduct the animal studies. Adalah I nak explain hari ni tak cukup lah. Tapi ceritanya kita tak boleh simply give unnecessary harm to the tikus. Macam contoh dalam Islam ni, kalau kita nak sembelih haiwan kan, sembelih lembu, sembelih tikus, sembelih ayam, very basic principle, kita tak boleh tunjuk pisau tu dekat animals. Sebab sayanglah, kita tunjuk jarum dekat manusia pun manusia takut. Kita tunjuk pisau dekat haiwan yang bakal disembelih, kan takut kawan tu.
Betul.
That's why kita nak sembelih, kita kena sembunyikan pisau. Itu antara prinsipal yang Islam ajar. Sama juga dalam animal studies ni, jangan bagi animal tu nampak apa yang kita nak buat. Contohlah kita nak cucuk dia kan. Aku nak cucuk kau saja, kita bagi takut dia walaupun dia tak faham our apa, kita punya bahasa, tapi kita kena treat them as a human. Jangan cekik dia, aku nak cucuk kau ni. Itu dah macam violate immoral activities. Kena treat them, kita kena kesian. Tapi last point in core moral value in conducting healthcare research ni, at the end kita kena self discipline. Kita kena self discipline buat research. Kena consistency, istiqamah. For example, kadang-kadang kita dalam postgraduate ni dia ada turun naik dia, motivation. Hari ni motivation nak buat research ni sampai satu hari sampai 20 muka kita buat, kita writing. Satu hari esoknya tidur dari pagi sampai malam sebab tak ada mood. Cannot lah. When we embark in research, at least kena ada consistency, istiqamah writing a paper, conducting a research. At least maybe for example mines. So now I just finished my second degree in Islamic studies. Just finished.
So congratulations, Doctor.
I want to share my experience. Actually, I start collecting a data this month. Writing a final draft. First week of July. So apa yang I buat? I specify my time only 2 weeks during writing a result and conclusions. So I give mine, at least I have to write the discussion at least 2 pages or 3 pages or 4 pages per day. So I consistent lah buat 4 page setiap hari sampai 2 minggu. Memang within 2 weeks I complete my result and discussion. Boleh siap. Sebab kita letakkan consistency tu. In our master and PhD kita kena consistent dah start daripada sekarang. At least satu hari buatlah 1 ataupun 2 muka. Jangan tinggal langsung. Kalau maybe hari ni kita dah miss tak buat 1 pages, esok kita qada balik. Kita buat 2 pages, kita add on. Itu cara dia inconsistency when doing a master and PhD. Bila dah embark dalam academic field pun still kena ada inconsistency tu. Writing a paper setiap hari, tulis satu hari satu muka, satu hari satu muka. Allocate in one day, allocate 1 hour for research only. Memang kita tak boleh fokus dalam research master PhD ni. Memang you tak boleh daripada pukul 8 sampai 5 buat research. Memang tak boleh. I have had the experience. I can focus on study from 8 to 5 solely on research. That's why kadang-kadang bila kita buat master PhD ni, allocate lah maybe 2 to 3 hours to write a paper. Cukup. Yang lain tu maybe 1 jam baca. Kena ada allocation of time when conducting a research. Yang penting discipline, inconsistency and istiqamah writing and conducting a research. Jangan hari ni motivation satu hari buat sampai 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages. At the end, tomorrow, you sleeping all the day. Dia tak boleh, dia kena consistent. Jadikan habit. Jadikan adat dalam diri. Okay, wallahu alam, siru alam berkelas. Thanks for listening to my sharing this evening. Thanks you. Okay, pass to Harishini.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Firdaus. It was a very fruitful session. I think part yang paling, how to say, I think I really felt touched is that fiqh muwazanat. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, fiqh muwazanat. Dalam Islam, we call
I
it,
like that concept, the particular concept.
yeah, the fiqh perbandingan. Fiqh perbandingan.
Okay. So can we wrap it up, Kak Wan? Kita move on with questions and answers here, Doctor. Okay, let's open the floor to Q&A session. If you have any question, you can unmute yourself or you can type it in the chat box. Okay. Kita tunggu ya 5 minit. Anyone has any questions?
I can see one name, Mohamad Badiuzaman Tuan Ibrahim. Is it this one from IUM? Bad ke ni? My old friend ke IUM Badiuzaman ni?
But
Bad ke?
masuk dalam alumni.
Oh, ya ke? Yang kan buat sambung ke USM.
Oh, there.
Tiba reunion kat sini.
Tiba. Okay, any question? Maybe we can share this evening.
Dr. Firdaus, sebenarnya dah tengah type soalan tadi. How far we can conduct animal studies for the benefit of human? Because before this we had a sharing from one Shafawani about conducting animal studies for cosmetics. Something like that. Can we consider cosmetics as essential or, to do harm to animals for the benefit of human in terms of beautifying the human or things like that?
Okay, when we talk about the can or cannot, moral or immoral, this one comes to the ethical issues in healthcare research. What is the discipline and field or animal study that we conduct regard as moral or immoral? Kalau in Islam, sorry Hari, you always talk about the Islam.
Actually, Doctor, to be honest kan, ada banyak, most of this principle, they actually resonate dengan my agama, agama Hindu. Cuma the thing, the perkataan je yang berbeza. Rasa konsep sama je.
Yeah, okay, nice. Okay, macam dalam Islamic perspektif, dia ada prinsipal daruriyat, hajiyat, tahsiniyat. Bila daruriyat ni, whatever things that violates the maqasid syariah, the objective of syariah, maybe this study maybe violates the principle of religions, maybe violates the principle of life, maruah, and something else. The 5 daruriyat al-khams, the essential things. They violate the essential things. So the research regard as immoral. If the research not violates the principle of maqasid syariah, so we can regard it as a moral activities, moral research, moral studies. So bila we back to the cosmetic study, actually the cosmetic field, cosmetic study ni is very broad. during my clinical working in hospital, bila kita sebut kosmetik ni not only bagi muka you cantik, panjangkan hidung, besarkan mulut, besarkan telinga, tak. Sometimes when patients involved in motor vehicle accidents, MVA, so the face of the patient maybe terbakar, luka, so we pushing the patient into the operation theatre, so kita akan refer dekat plastic surgery, kosmetik lah maksudnya. Kita akan betulkan balik muka dia dah terbakar tu, kita tampal-tampal sana, tampal sini kan, bagi cantik balik. Itu pun one of the cosmetic procedure in plastic surgery. So plastik yang macam mana yang tak boleh? For example, contohlah plastik
Korean plastic, doctor.
Ah?
Wanna make the nose sharp, eyes wide, Korean plastic.
Contohlah dia buat study tentang kosmetik apa yang betul-betul jelas, yang violet lah. Saya tengok. Okay, macam contohlah during my study, during my clinical area dulu ada one of the patient, dia comes to the hospital, private hospital. Dia nak buat apa? Dia nak enlarge the penis. Sorry lah, in very controversial issues. They want to enlarge the penis. Ini tak ada kaitan tiba nak enlarge buat benda. So maybe study kosmetik ni, dia nak buat pasal itu. Dia buat pasal itu. Benda ni violate lah. Benda ni violate. Ataupun I don't have any idea lah how to bagi the very concrete evidence. Tapi itulah contoh dia. Maybe Fakru boleh top up ke. Itu benda-benda yang kalau violate dia maqasid syariah, he can't regard it as a moral study. Tapi kalaulah study tu yang boleh bagi manfaat kepada manusia, sebagai contoh, maybe kita bagi nak betulkan balik skin disebabkan burn, for example. So, it's permissible. Yeah.
I think another form of beneficial plastic surgery will be the reconstruction untuk breast cancer patients kan, doctor. So lepas dia buat full mastectomy, so they feel like very, how to say, tak confident untuk go outside to interact with the society. So benda tu akan create like a particular like mental, how to say, like a mental stress for them. So they opt to use reconstruction of the breast to make them feel more confident. Yes, doctor.
Yes, that's why in Islamic perspective, implanting a breast is not permissible in Islam. But when it goes to give harm to the woman, bila we doing a mastectomy, we remove the breast. Tapi bila menyebabkan harm to the woman, menyebabkan dia low motivation, stress, depression, lepas tu menyebabkan suami lari pada dia. So ada justification. Islam give a permission or give orang kata acknowledge them to apply orang kata implant the breast using the first principle can't, but kalau lah benda tu menyebabkan demotivation, stress, depression, menyebabkan rumah tangga hancur, dia violate the maqasid, then it can use the breast implantations.
Okay, this is something new. Okay.
So itu pun boleh buat study lah. Kalau benda macam itu boleh buat study yang boleh give a benefit as long as in line with the Islamic principle.
Okay.
Dia kena ada justification lah.
So shall we proceed with the next question? So someone typed in the chat box, why is morality important in research? I mean, benda ini common sense and basic behavior as a human to act humanly. But why we need to stress on about morality? Ada kat chat box, doctor?
Chat box kat mana? Sorry, saya tengah cari chat box tu. Oh, sini. Okay, baik.
Yes.
Why is morality important? Yeah, morality ni memang common sense. Yeah, it's definitely common sense, but that's why I told you just now at the beginnings, sometimes even though it's common sense, but people tends to neglect the common sense itself. Semata-mata dia nak habiskan study, dia tinggalkan semua the morality elements. Sebab apa dia nak habiskan study? Nanti dia nak fabricate data. For example, banyak berlaku one of the misconduct research. As long as they can even pun so, contoh apa? Fabricate data. They not doing a research at all. Tapi dia act macam dia dah buat research. Result mana-mana tu dia ambil, dia kata ini my result. Ataupun dia hire someone to doing research for them. Ini pun fabricate data, fabricating the data. So the morality, sometimes kadang-kadang niat tu menyebabkan dia tak ikut common sense tu. That's why kita kena stress on the morality when conduct research.
Okay. Alright, Doctor, next question. Can one be moral but not ethical at the same time? Ada kat chat box, Doctor?
Can one be moral but not ethical at the same time? Okay, sometimes when we said about the moral, we said about the ethics, actually these both keywords we use interchangeable, but the context or the using of the words sometimes the difference lah. But sometimes we use this word interchangeable. Sometimes we use it moral as what things ada dalam diri kita. We believe the perceptions, but we call it about the ethics, dia macam standard guideline external. Moral tu lebih kepada internal, lebih nak mudah faham lah. Internal dalam, external the ethics, benda yang external elements. Like the principle, guideline, SOP, declaration that we mentioned before this. Sekejap, soalan dia apa tadi?
One be moral but not
Can
ethical.
one be moral? Kadang-kadang boleh je. Sometimes one can be a moral tapi dia tak ikut standard guideline. Ada juga. Kadang-kadang the standard guideline, the outside, the external guideline, dia kadang-kadang based on the research, based on the sense, based on the finding result. Tapi benda tu kadang-kadang ada yang tak selari. Tapi up to now, I tak cross lagi lah benda-benda macam tu.
Okay. Relax kejap. Okay, Abang Fakru ada comment something kat sini. Recent days, common senses are not common anymore. Yes, very true. Okay. So, dengar suara doktor tadi. Okay, anyone, if you guys still have any questions, you guys can enter into the chat box. I will just read it out later. Okay, tak apalah, kita sembang jap. Okay, Abang Fakru, turn on your camera. Nanti habis cakap sorang-sorang pula.
Okay.
Hari nanti wrap up pukul
Doctor's back.
pukul 4
Okay.
petang.
Okay, alright. You, Doctor?
I have another question from Amalina.
Yes,
Okay. Okay, one last question, Doctor, before we wrap this whole thing up. So, your opinion on impact of moral values in science?
Impact moral values in science. So nak sebut macam mana the impact of moral value, I could say like this. Moral value is very important and very crucial to inculcate in our healthcare research because we want to produce a benefit, to give a benefit to the people. If you are not telling the truth, don't have the integrity, we fabricate the data, they falsify the data. So at the end, the harm goes to the people and the community. Sometimes the community too, including our families, our parents, our kids. So masing-masing akan dapat harm, the injury, the illness to this kind of people. That's why kita kena abide by to the rule and principle, kena inculcate the moral values in our healthcare research. Kena betul-betul jujur keluarkan result tersebut. Jangan simply you fabricate the data, falsify the data. Sebab benda tu bukan saja melibatkan you, kadang-kadang dia akan melibatkan involve the human life. Bila research you tu melibatkan nyawa, kalaulah orang boleh mati, orang boleh tercedera, orang exposing harm because of you, dalam Islam kita sebut ada saham untuk you juga. You menyebabkan mudarat kepada orang lain, that's why you can get the saham. That's why in Islamic legal maxim disebut kaedah fiqh, la darar wala dirar. Don't introducing harm and don't retaliate harm to the people. Don't exposing harm to the people. That's why macam simple je research ni, tapi the result you tu, kalaulah boleh exposing harm to the people, you akan dapat dosa dan saham dia. Ni melibatkan dosa pahala sampai syurga neraka lah nak ceritanya. Bukan simply you nak graduate je ni. Kalau melainkan lah, kalau you semata-mata graduate master PhD tu you simpan bawah katil, tak melibatkan apa, that's fine. Bukan that's fine lah, memang tak boleh jugalah kiranya.
Akhirat.
Yeah, that's all from me. Thanks to Sister Hari.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Firdaus. I am very, very sure that you guys enjoyed this whole session. So, siapa yang dah enjoy tu, letaklah emoji, thumbs up ke, celebration ke. I'll start one. Thank you so much, everyone. So, let's wrap it up. So, basically, moral values are very important. Even though kita nak berjaya, in the end of the day, do not neglect your moral values, the research ethics. Sebab kita tak nak like those days yang how to say people misconduct the research, macam the syphilis case and so on. So hopefully such thing will not happen again in this new era. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Firdaus. Tak ada token of appreciation, but thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Okay, so you guys may leave the meeting room.
Dah tutup dah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you semua.
Thank you.
Thank you semua. Haris stay.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Hari je stay. Okay.
Hari je stay.
Murabi nak stay boleh je. Kita nak bincang yang next punya.
Okay.
So
Okay,
Hari, thank you for today.
You're
You did well.
welcome. I don't know what I did. I just simply
Okay
I just
je.
let it out je.
Good.
It's okay. You spy out everything. So macam taklah macam terlalu akademik sangat. Tapi okay, thank you Hari.
Okay, baik dah.
Harap-harap nanti tak serik ya. Jadi moderator for the next session lagi.
Habis
Second
sakit
speaker.
gigi actually. Sakit gigi sangat.
I see. Nampak sebab nampak Hari tak sihat.
Kan? Kau buat pronunciation okay kan? Sebab I feel like like that.
So far okay, pronunciation you okay je. I dengar clear and loud. And then
Nanti nak marah-marah MC untuk iPad
tak ada orang marah pun.